Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan helped 2 families in need after fires destroyed their homes. Tzu Chings introduced Tzu Chi to participants of an international student exchange at the Vatican City. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Shioda. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Taiwan and hear about some fires that have occurred in which Tzu Chi volunteers offer their assistance. In November, a family in Sikzhi lost all of their possessions and is still struggling to recuperate. And meanwhile, a tragic fire in Hsinchu claimed the lives of a mother and her 2 children. Volunteers were on site to console the father and the family, as well as help clean up the debris. Here's more.
A large residential fire occurred in Hsinchu recently, resulting in the death of a mother and 2 children. The family is survived by 1 person.
I think life is impermanent. It was an open flame that spread to the entire house and took them with it. It's very tragic and my heart hurts for them.
The older brother and sister-in-law of the family's husband helped more than a dozen volunteers clean up the remains of the home. A smell of ash and burning was still thick in the air.
Thank you to all of the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters for coming to help.
Of course, siblings should help take care of each other. My parents-in-law are old and they don't know what happened. I can't bear to think how my mother-in-law would cope.
There were a few things we could save. Some clothing, a few glass pieces. After the fire, there are still things you pick out and recycle.
These volunteers will be here to console Mr. Wu in his time of loss, and the family and community will come together to clean up the home and help Mr. Wu return to a normal life as soon as possible. And in New Taipei's Sikzhi area, a family that lost everything is still struggling to recover. The remains of this building are scorched and black after the fire that occurred. 40 volunteers from around New Taipei's Sikzhi district have come to assist Mrs. Guo with cleaning up her fire-damaged home. On the 8th of November, a fire broke out in this neighborhood. All of Mrs. Guo's property was lost, but thankfully no one was harmed and none of the neighboring homes were affected. During this difficult time, Mrs. Guo has been living at a neighbor's home, and Tzu Chi has been there to look after her.
Her husband has also taken a half-month off of work because he can't go to work with his living situation unstable. So today we prepared some assistance funds to help ease some of their worries.
We have some second-hand furniture from the Tzu Chi grounds and the recycling center. After they saw it, we wanted them to have it. Once it's all been fixed up, we will use the recycling truck to transport it to them.
These volunteers are making sure that this family is cared for in their time of need, delivering living essentials as well as love. Tzu Chi will continue to be there as this family gets their lives back to normal.
In Indonesia, local TIMA members partnered with Jakarta Police Department to host a free clinic at a children's park in Kembang Ang of West Jakarta on November 29th. More than 800 patients, including some laborers and impoverished residents, were helped at the event.
The children's park in Kembangan of West Jakarta has a large crowd of people gathered for a free clinic.
The location of this free clinic is very close to my home. I hope they can hold this event as many times as possible in the future.
We collaborate with the police to host this free clinic. Through the list of names provided by them, we can get a better understanding of local residents' living conditions. Without the information, we would never know how much free medical assistance the impoverished residents hope to receive.
TIMA members are working with more than 100 police officers to provide medical services and give prescriptions, serving some 800 patients in only 4 hours.
Because medical services here are free, so my children accompany me to seek medical assistance. All of the medical staff are very kind. I will invite my husband to come here later.
The purpose of this free clinic is to provide free medical services for the disadvantaged residents. I hope that we still have the chance to partner with Tzu Chi in the future.
In addition to helping out at the free clinic, the police also help distribute daily supplies to the impoverished residents, allowing them to put a smile on their face.
Though the government has established a healthcare center for local residents, it is not commonly visited by them. It is more convenient for residents in this community to seek medical assistance through this free clinic.
With the free medical services provided by Tzu Chi and the police in Jakarta, local residents in this community have reduced their physical pain, as well as relieved their worries.
In a medical-related news, after finishing the International Free Clinic in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers and team members from Malaysia and Vietnam joined hands with the Philippine volunteers to help rebuild a local volunteer's home. Team doctors said that they hardly ever have such an opportunity in Malaysia, so they were glad to have the chance to learn from the work.
After finishing a free clinic, Tzu Chi volunteers from Malaysia and Vietnam come to Vaticana to take up brushes and start painting.
For myself, normally we have not many chances to do this in our country. Normally I did it for the free clinic services back to in Malaysia. Thank you for this trip that we have chance to do it more, to learn more and to see more.
This is the home of local volunteer Rosie, damaged by Typhoon Katrina 7 years ago. This house was enlisted for reconstruction by the Tzu Chi Philippine chapter. Before it is completed, volunteers from Malaysia also come to paint it.
I try my best to do as good as possible for them. I treat this as my own house. Yeah, so, when we help people, we try to do our best.
We're really happy that volunteers from Malaysia came to paint my home. I don't know how to thank those volunteers who came from so far.
I hope they can have better life, and I hope more Philippine people join Tzu Chi. Their life will get better.
The house looks different with a new coat of paint. The volunteers also hope Rosie's family will live a better life.
Religion, in the eyes of some, is a way to separate people. Last century, many wars were started in the name of religion. However, in this century, religion and faith is seen as a way to unite people. At the Vatican City, the annual International Student Forum was held, and students of all religious beliefs were invited to participate. Pope Francis has declared this year to be the extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy and has met with representatives of different religions to bring this idea into practice. Vatican City also held an International Religious Student Forum to hear what the young people are concerned about.
If you are inspired to convert yourself to any religion, you are most welcome. But if you want to live that life, then grow in your identity, become firm in your faith, and share the joy with other people that they share with us, and let us build a new world.
2 American Tzu Chings studying in Europe and 2 from South Africa attended the forum on behalf of the Tzu Chi Foundation. They introduced the organizations to the rest of the student representatives.
We believe, like Mother Teresa says now, the best gift that you can ever offer to somebody is a good smile. And there is so much of message, so much of beauty, relief in a good smile. So I think it is a part of our Asian culture, much more than the European culture, but then you all have won the hearts of our students here. Yes.
Students eloquently introduced Tzu Chi to others, which helps to break down barriers one at a time.薛志玉is a recycling volunteer in Shanghai, China. Before she joined Tzu Chi, she did not know how to spend her days after her retirement. Even though she went to pray at temples all the time, she still felt lost. It was not until she met Tzu Chi and became a recycling volunteer that she found her place in life.
我妹妹走了嘛，我给我打击很大。她因为有很多的，后来她一下子走了以后，什么都没带走。
Xue Zhiyi was once charmed by material things. She became enlightened after her baby sister died.
I was quite happy whenever I brought home something, but days later that happiness disappeared.
She came across Tzu Chi by chance, and she became involved with doing recycling. She has influenced her neighbors in the community for 4 years.
When I go out, people respect me very much, as they will greet me voluntarily. They will also organize the recyclables and then tell me to go to their homes to collect them. When they tell me to go, I will go, rain or shine, so I can bring them to my house.
They come regardless of weather. They never delay the work.
Before doing recycling,薛志玉 often makes breakfast for volunteers. She says some people come from afar to do it, and it touched her deeply. She has not had that warm feeling for a long time.
After our in-depth study of mosquitoes over the past 5 episodes, next we meet researcher Tzu Chi, who has been nicknamed Dr. Mosquito because he has spent his whole life defending Taiwan from mosquito-borne diseases. He's the individual who discovered 2 types of mosquitoes that can transmit dengue fever. Here's more on Dr. Mosquito.
90-year-old Tzu Chi goes for a walk early in the morning, visiting this neighborhood park, where he helps safeguard the health of local residents.
Artificial containers are mosquitoes' most important breeding ground. If it carries the dengue virus and it bites a few people, they will be infected with dengue fever.
As a result, Tzu Chi often overturns containers to dry and frequently finds mosquitoes hatching.
I sometimes see mosquitoes emerge as pupa adult and fly away. Sometimes there are still 2 or 3 larvae. No matter what, we should catch these mosquitoes, and these areas over here also have some mosquitoes. There were 60 species of Taiwan mosquitoes before retrocession, which were already reported, and afterwards this number grew to 135 species, which I discovered.
In Taiwan, 28 species of mosquitoes have been identified by Tzu Chi, accounting for 1% of the world's mosquito species. To find these new species, he uses homemade mosquito tools, including a net and then a bottle with a tube to collect them for careful observation.
Almost every year, I come to collect mosquitoes. I will also catch some pupa for you to see.
Lian used his experience to find the yellow fever mosquito and the Asian tiger mosquito can transmit dengue fever, but they have 2 different ways of transmission. The Asian tiger mosquito is distributed throughout Taiwan, but the main habitat is the countryside and the wild, as it does not like to stay in the house, mostly living outdoors and biting humans along with dogs and cats and other animals. The yellow fever mosquito is afraid of the cold and does not cross the Tropic of Cancer, with distribution primarily to the south of Jai's Budai, inhabiting mostly urban areas as it can't fly for a long time, as it mainly stays in the house and preys on humans much like a vampire would.
The yellow fever mosquito is very efficient when it comes to transmitting infectious diseases like dengue fever. The Asian tiger mosquito has very low efficiency in disease transmission. Why do I say this? Because each year there's an outbreak of dengue fever in the south and not in the north, because they have the yellow fever mosquito and the north doesn't.
Last year, Taiwan had more than 400 people die because of dengue fever, leading him to say that Taiwan's mosquitoes are efficient in spreading this highly contagious disease. With so many dengue fever cases in the world, he's reminded of 74 years ago in 1943, when Taiwan saw the outbreak of a large-scale epidemic.
At that time, the population was just 6 million people, and some 5 million people were infected with dengue fever.
At that time, Lian took part in an investigation of the southern epidemic, but unfortunately, he was bitten by one of the infected mosquitoes.
When I came back, I got sick with dengue fever and had a headache and terrific pain, which lasted for nearly a week.
At the age of 15, his bout of dengue fever almost killed him, and when he was 28 years old, he went to Lanyu to investigate a malaria epidemic and got scrub typhus disease, which sent him into a coma and nearly took his life. Due to the harm caused by this disease vector mosquito, he vowed to use all of his might to defeat it and alleviate the suffering of others.
National Taiwan University presented me with this Distinguished Teaching Award.
Dedicating his whole life to fighting against malaria and other diseases was a major contribution to Taiwan, leading him to win the Department of Health's Health Medal first rank. He's also nicknamed the father of dengue fever. However, from what he has seen over the past 2 years, he's very worried about another outbreak of dengue fever.
We could encounter typhoon water, which don't recede, or people improperly handling their containers, which could lead the epidemic to spread.
Here, lab-cultivated mosquitoes have laid many eggs, and after just 7 days, as long as there is a little bit of water, a few hours later, hundreds of larvae are produced, and 7 to 10 days later, these larvae will become adult mosquitoes.
Every week, one needs to clean stagnant water. If you drain the water, the larvae won't form, and you won't have mosquitoes.
The best way to prevent dengue fever is simply the traditional method, which includes weekly cleaning of containers in stagnant water. As long as the disease vector mosquito larvae doesn't have the opportunity to grow, and the dengue virus will not spread. This means that when we hear about mosquitoes and the threat of dengue fever, the public may soon no longer be afraid.
Next, we will meet a mother and her son who are both sufferers of a genetic disorder which causes small tumors to grow all over the body and which also affects the central nervous system. Chen Lijun first found out she had the disease when she was pregnant with her son at 25 years old. Since then, it has been a difficult life for the mother and son. Children have no sense of shame. They say that lady is scary or she looks terrible.
This is Chen Lijun, who is speaking about her own experience. Miss Chen suffers from neurofibromatosis, which causes various sized tumors to appear all over her body, from her face to her hands and legs.
When I first heard about my condition, I went home and just cried. I thought to myself, why do I have to be cast out of society like this? I sat down in that spot all alone and thought no one would ever sit together with me. Even now, when I take the elevator, people will move to the opposite side. This is a picture of me when I was a student, and here is one when I went on a trip with my kindergarten colleagues.
This is a photo of Chen Lijun as a young student with a lovely hairstyle and a radiant smile. Miss Chen, who loves children, made her living as a kindergarten teacher until she became pregnant. That was when she discovered she had the rare genetic disorder. She was depressed that her son would also inherit the disease. Her son, Yan Shi, is now 26 and gives massages to ease the aches and pains of his aging mother. Because of the fibromatosis, her body's joints are deformed. Her son is her only friend and companion. Yan Shi studied financial risk and business management in university, and after graduating went to look for work to ease the financial burdens of his mother. But his potential need for emergency surgery and his poor health have made the job search difficult. He began to develop the disease in middle school. Since then, he has undergone surgery 6 times. He knows that his mother suffers from financial burdens and has to pay for expensive painkillers. Yan Shi bravely faces the fact that he may not receive the painkillers.
After the first surgery, I knew that I had to be brave and be there to care for my son. I couldn't bear to send him to a care center or a nursing home. There's no way I could ever let him go.
Knowing her for these past 2 years, she has been working extremely hard. When she was at the elementary school, she cleaned it from top to bottom. She is a very hard worker. She even had a traffic accident from being too tired.
Thanks to the career counselors, Miss Chen has found new fulfilling work and is regaining her confidence in dealing with others. Now she is contributing to her community with a positive spirit to help the children grow up healthy and happy.
In Taichung, Dr. Li Lieshuai modified an electric vehicle for his mother, who has trouble walking because of an accident many years ago. Thanks to his hard work and efforts, the two of them can now often head outdoors to visit the park.
This colorful electric vehicle always attracts people's attention. This electric vehicle was modified by Dr. Lee. His mother has trouble walking due to a car accident that prevented her from going outdoors. In order to encourage her to go outside, he spent his free time modifying this electric vehicle.
完全 DIY 啊，就你看可以利用的东西。
I modified it by myself. I buy whatever I can use. I try to make it more convenient to use. With the windshield wiper, she can even go outdoors on rainy days.
He also equipped the vehicle with 2 electric fans and decorated it beautifully. As a result, his mother really likes it.
小孩子做的，自己做的，
好酷哦！好羡慕你呢。
谢谢你。家里就是比较黑漆漆的，外面比较光线好哈，
可以晒太阳哦。
Dr. Lee spent 2 years modifying this electric vehicle. Now with this vehicle, he can drive his mother to the park on weekends.
One care recipient in Taiwan, Ms. Liao of Tainan, suffers from both physical and mental disabilities. When she lived with her older brother's family, she often locked herself in her room. Due to Ms. Liao's love of reading, Tzu Chi volunteers had an idea to give her Tzu Chi monthly, hoping to open her heart. After her mental health improved, she moved to a nursing home, and recently she has been going to a recycling station to do recycling.
After 1 year of Tzu Chi Volunteers Company, A's condition has improved. She now goes to a recycling station to do recycling, and she will also greet everyone.
When I used to live at home, I didn't live like a normal person, but after I moved to the nursing home, I now live a regular life.
Ara is both physically and mentally challenged. She used to lock herself in her dark, dirty room. The volunteers found she liked to read, so they gave her Tzu Chi monthly.
After she finished reading it, she would tell me things she discovered. I told her the weather around the world is imbalanced because of the global warming, so we had to cut back carbon emissions. She said she knew it, so I told her to do recycling. Learning recycling can make my head clear and know more things.
Ara always comes to do recycling whenever she is free. The volunteers are very nice to her and tolerant of her whenever she is emotional, because they know Ara is trying to get better.
Ambassadors from Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology recently visited Tainan and performed a children's play to inspire students to be kind and compassionate at the Tainan Jingsi Hall. The play was also turned into a storybook so that the children who couldn't attend the performance could also learn the lessons as well. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us.